Welcome to From the Shed End podcast with myself, T.Dot. As always, thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and what we're going to be talking about today. It's going to be a short video, but there's been a couple of updates, a couple of things been swanning around in the Chelsea camp at the moment. Now, we're going to start off by talking about the attacking issues at Chelsea. Now, a report has come out recently to say that some of the attackers at Chelsea are not happy with Thomas Tuchel and his approach to how the game is being played in the offensive half of the pitch. Now, we know about Lukaku. I'm not going to spend any more time talking about Romelu Lukaku, the interview, all of that stuff. We know what he said. Yes, it was wrong. I said at the time I didn't disagree with it. I still stand by that. And it looks like he's not the only one who has issues with Thomas Tuchel. I believe Christian Pulisic is one of the key players that have come out recently and said that he's not happy with the approach. There was a bad atmosphere in the dressing room. There's a lot of things that just currently aren't being done correctly from an attacking point of view. Now, if we're talking about attackers, we have to look at Romelu Lukaku. We have to look at Christian Pulisic, Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, I think there's a couple of things we need to address and look at and think about when we talk about our attackers at the moment. Now, one of the things that we have to understand and I think we have to look at is that Kai Havertz is a brilliant player. Timo Werner, a very good player. Romelu Lukaku is a player that needs a particular type of service to be able to fulfill what he needs to do in the position that he plays, which is fine. But one key thing that a lot of Chelsea fans and a lot of football fans across the world are forgetting is we've lost two key players. We lost Reece James and Ben Chilwell, two key players in a team which relies on its wing backs, which relies on the two wing backs flying down the wing, which relies on them putting the ball in the box and giving that service to Lukaku and all of these things that wing backs are supposed to do. We've lost that all season so far. So Hudson-Odoi, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Christian Pulisic, I understand their frustrations because they're not being played in their natural positions. They've been played at sometimes as a left wing back or a right wing back, and they've had to adapt. They've had to adjust. Now, I'll follow that up with, in my opinion, and this goes for any job. This could be a job that you work currently, a job that you want to work in. As a footballer, you have to adapt and you have to be able to adapt and you have to be able to adapt in a way that accommodates what the manager, the head coach is asking you to do. So I remember a statement, I think when Frank Lampard was in charge, and I think Callum Hudson-Odoi had been used as a right wing back at the time, or left, maybe right and left at the time. And one of the things that Callum said at the time was, he's happy to play in a position that the manager wants him to play in. So at that time, whether it was Lampard or another manager, they wanted him to play wing back. He did that. You've got to be able to adapt. These are the things you've got to do as a footballer. You have to be, if you want to be as a world-class player, you can't be one-dimensional, which is what I think Romelu Lukaku is at the moment. He's a one-dimensional number 9, typical striker, but he's just not. He's technically, for me, a poacher of a striker, but he's not poaching, if we're being real. But what we need to understand is, are the attackers unhappy? Of course they should be unhappy. They're not scoring goals. They're not doing what is expected of them. There's frustration in the camp. I think Thomas Tuchel, look, a lot of people over the last couple of weeks have questioned Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea, whether he's the right manager, whether he should be sacked, is what I'm seeing on the internet, all these crazy things. And in my opinion, Thomas Tuchel is a manager of world class. And yes, he might be expecting a level of output from his players that he's not getting at the moment. That doesn't mean that he's in the wrong. I think we need to flip this, and I think the players should be looking at themselves because, as I said before, if you're a quality player, you should have the ability to be able to adapt to any situation that the manager is asking you to play in. So for that being said, I think these attackers need to have a look at themselves in the mirror. They need to see that, yes, they're not playing. Some of them are playing out of their position. They're not playing as often. This goes back to the thing that I mentioned a few videos ago, that we haven't got consistency. There's no consistency. When you look at Liverpool, you look at Man City to an extent, they've got consistency. You know what front three you're facing against Liverpool, unless there's a change. Maybe if Firmino comes in for a Jota, but normally you know Mane and Salah are going to be starting. So there's no consistency with our attacking forwards at all. We don't have any consistency at all, and I think that is a massive key problem. I think Thomas Tuchel is trying to keep all these attackers happy, but I also think as well Thomas Tuchel is well within his right to criticize or have a go at his players. I'm trying to find the correct wording that was used in the Athletic, but it basically says that he's given the players a hard time during training. He's given a hard time to these players during the match. And why not? Because we have to remember they are playing for one of the biggest clubs in England, in Europe at the moment. They should be doing a lot better. And I think we have to understand that they're not playing to their strengths at the moment. Does the manager have to take some of that heat? Of course he does, because at the end of the day, he's the one that selects the team. He's the one that sees them in training. He's the one that has the man management and the day-to-day management of these players. So he has to take a lot of the blame, but the players have to look at themselves. Romelu Lukaku, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Hakim Ziyech. These are all players that have the quality to do a lot better. They're not doing what they can do. The manager isn't happy. It's to be expected. In any job you do, if you're not doing the job to the standard that the job is needed to be done, there is going to come criticism. And that is just any walk of life, any job that you do. So I understand the frustrations. We need to put the Lukaku situation to bed, which I've said before, but it's interesting because it's not just Lukaku who's speaking out now. So it tells you that there was some truth to what Lukaku was saying in terms of the formations, the tactics that Tuchel's using. And he didn't go to the extent of saying that there was other players that were unhappy, but you can look at read between the lines, you can see that there is issues and it's showing on the pitch. So I think we have to just understand that, look, Lukaku wasn't wrong. He was wrong for the form that he used, but the end of the day, put that to bed. The players need to start playing. If they don't want to play, and there's talk of them wanting to leave Chelsea, then again, I think the board, the club, the owner needs to back Tuchel in this situation and say, these players are not good enough. Bring me players in that can do the job that I need them to do. That's how the board and the club and Marino and all these upper echelons hierarchy need to deal with this situation and get rid of some of this club deadwood that we've got at the club at the moment, which we're going to talk about in an episode on Spotify or Apple. If you haven't already done that, make sure you check out the podcast on Spotify and Apple. With 50 episodes into it, so of course we appreciate everyone that's listening to the podcast, but make sure you check out episode 50. But we will be touching on underrated players and overrated players and players that need to leave Chelsea in an episode coming very soon. But let's move on to some transfer news, because I was interested in this transfer news from yesterday. Obviously, it broke again. We've been linked with Joules Kounde, a very good defender from Sevilla at the moment. Now let's take it back to the summer real quick, because if you remember, in the summer we were linked with Kounde, and Kounde was expected to turn up at Chelsea. He was meant to be coming to Cobham. There was all this talk about him coming. At the time, obviously, we didn't have Thiago Silva's contract nailed down. We still don't have Andreas Christensen or Antonio Rudiger's contracts nailed down as well. But Kounde, the deal was done apparently. We'd agreed personal terms with him. Everything was great. We were looking to get that deal done. But at the last minute, the final hour, Sevilla decided to change and move the goalposts for the transfer fee. There was a minimum release clause that hadn't been met, and he didn't come. He didn't. The deal wasn't done. Fair enough. Okay, he stays. We've still got our centre backs. We've still got Trevor Chalobah, Christensen, Rudiger, Thiago Silva. Nothing. There's no problem. But now it seems that Kounde really wants this deal. We've been interested. We've inquired again over the past 48 hours about his intentions to stay at Sevilla or whether he wants to move. Apparently, according to a lot of these reports that I'm reading on here now, a fee of around 58 million euros plus 5 million add-ons would be required to take Kounde away from Sevilla to Stamford Bridge. Now, in my opinion, we've also been linked with Niklas Süle, who is a player that is leaving Bayern Munich at the end of the season. I think, in my opinion, Kounde is a very, very good defender. I think he's someone that could potentially be a replacement for an Andreas Christensen should he move to Barcelona or another European country. But I think at the end of the day, I think if we can get this deal done in the summer, if we have to pay the 55 million or whatever the release clause is at the moment, we have to pay that. Let's get that done. If we have to pay the 5 million bonuses, let's get that done as well. Let's remember, this is a guy that was very heavily interested in joining Chelsea. He had already agreed personal terms. And I imagine those personal terms are still in place. So literally it's just a case of agreeing with the board and Sevilla's club, obviously, how much we're going to be paying, if it's going to be the release clause, or if there's something else we can pay, then that needs to be done, in my opinion. I did mention Niklas Süle, who's leaving Bayern Munich. I do like him as a defender. I know he's had a very big injury leading up to his career at Bayern Munich. So I'll be honest, I haven't really watched much of the Bundesliga this season. But from what I do know about Niklas Süle, he's a very good defender when he's fit. The problem and the key word is fitness. So is he going to be fit for Chelsea? He's coming to one of the most demanding and fast-paced leagues in Europe. Is he going to be able to cope with that? It's yet to be seen. There's also a link of Niklas Süle going to Spurs, which for me would be a strange move, but at the same time as well, Spurs need defenders. So of course, if he goes there, then fair play to him. But if I was a Chelsea fan, my eyes and eggs would be all in one basket, and that would be for Joules Kounde. I think he's a very reliable centre back. We've obviously still got this great area around Antonio Rudiger and Andreas Christensen's contracts. There's still hope for Rudiger. It looks like we might be losing Christensen. And one player I do want to end on is Cesar Azpilicueta, who at the moment is still sort of on the fence about his contract situation. Is he going to stay at Chelsea? Is he going to move on? There's talk about Barcelona wanting him. If I'm going to be honest, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast already. I wouldn't be too annoyed if Cesar Azpilicueta decides to go. I think we can't be carrying passengers if we want to win the league. And this is where decisions are made higher up, and they have to be the right ones. If you look at a Man City, they allowed Sergio Aguero to go. They allowed him to go. Top player for Man City, but they allowed him to go. Cesar Azpilicueta is one of the most impactful players that we've had at the club over the 10-year period plus that he's been at the club, and it'd be a shame to leave him out of the team. It'd be a shame to let him go, because he's part of the reason why we've been so successful over the last couple of years, and in my opinion, we definitely would lose a massive part of the team. But at the same time as well, if we want to win Champions Leagues and we want to try and compete properly for the Premier League, these are the sort of players that we have to replace with quality in depth, and we have to bring in that quality. And I don't think he's going to want to play second fiddle coming on for the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup or the odd Premier League game, or coming on as an 89th minute sub to wind down the clock. So I think we have to be honest when we talk about him. Of course, he's a brilliant player. He's someone that we appreciate, that's been at the club. But sometimes when good things come to an end, we have to cut ties and we have to see them flourish somewhere else. And I think Barcelona will be a very good setup for him. Obviously, he's going back home to his Spanish roots, so it kind of makes sense, in my opinion, to let him go. We want to see Azpilicueta still playing football at a level very much like a Branislav Ivanovic. I was disappointed when he left, but at the same time, he went on to play. He even was playing Premier League for West Brom a few seasons ago. So we have to sometimes cut ties with people that we don't want to. But in my opinion, Azpilicueta, as much as he's part of the furniture at Cobham and Stamford Bridge, I think we need to cut our ties with him, look at alternatives. Obviously, we're going to have Reece James coming back in fully fit as well. And this is one of the issues that we've got. We carry a lot of passengers on big wages at the club, which then stifles who we can bring in because of the wage bill that we've got at the moment. So in my opinion, maybe it's time to say bye to Dave. But yeah, look, this has been From the Shed End podcast. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate everyone that has already subscribed already and is watching the videos. And also as well, links in the description straight to the podcast on Apple or Spotify. And make sure you give those episodes a listen as well. It's myself, Theo, who does the episodes on there. But until next time, this has been From the Shed End. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back